many of the areas of fire rescue services are inherently dangerous positions. What I mean by that is the exposures that you have are significant. And so physically, it's really important that we maintain our physical well-being. And, from a mental aspect, there's tremendous mental strains, if you will, over the career of a firefighter and of an employee of Edmonton Fire Rescue Services.
There are many occupational physical demands that firefighters face. There's crawling, there's jumping, there's pushing, there's pulling. There's so many different things that can affect the body that are involved with the regular tasks of being a firefighter. You really have to be physically and mentally prepared, because if you're not, it can really take you for a strange ride.
Firefighters need to be healthy. They need to be strong. They need to be fit. They need to look after themselves. Firefighting is complicated. A lot of exposure. The medical assessment is probably the most important thing you can do for yourself as a firefighter. And that's something we provide free of charge at our own clinic annually for every firefighter.
Early intervention is such a big deal. So, with our health and wellness program, one of the primary components of it is an annual medical. And there's a number of tests, pre-screening for different types of the primary site cancers that affect firefighters. And we've had numerous early detections. Folks were able to engage in treatment and had a wonderful outcome.
I was diagnosed with cancer in November of 2011. I endured about 6 months of treatment and made my way back to work in a modified position by July. I was pretty driven to get back to work. In August of 2013, they found a tumor in the base of my spine. I had to endure another 4 or 5 months of intense chemotherapy and had a stem cell transplant in January of 2014. That seemed to be the fix for me. I was off work for an additional 2 years, working on modified duties for a year, and returned to my job at the fire hall.
This medical is a voluntary medical. We would love everybody to be able to take the opportunity to take a part of the program and get to know their numbers, but it's one of those things where it's up to you. You're the one that makes a difference. So if you want to be healthy, if you want to make sure that you're going to be able to respond to the call at any time, then you will be the one that will be responsible for making sure that you go ahead and get your medical.
I think mental health awareness is just as important as physical health awareness. For many years, we've placed a lot of emphasis on taking care of our physical health, and now we're starting to realize the important connection between the mind and the body. Both are important because as a person, we are both of those things. So it's important for us to take care of both our mind as it is to take care of the rest of our body as well. At the end of the day, everybody here are people first, and firefighters, dispatchers, prevention officers, investigators second.
I was diagnosed with PTSD in January of 2015. The issues at home were getting worse and worse, and to a point where it all broke down at home. And it hit a point where my wife I finally told my wife, I said, I think you need help. And she said, her response was, I've known you needed help for a long time. I said, well, why didn't you say anything? She says, I thought you would probably get really mad. And at that point, I knew I needed to do something about it.
Mental health awareness is important for a whole variety of reasons, including the fact that for a very long time, we have not talked enough about mental health, the fact that we all have mental health, and that sometimes it could be challenged for a whole variety of reasons. People have suffered in silence for too long around that and have not reached out for support. So the more awareness and understanding we have around mental health and mental health issues, and the more conversations we have around that, the more we normalize that, the greater the possibility that people will reach out for help and support, because we all need that from time to time.
It was a tough thing to do. I pulled up to Millard for my first day after my diagnosis, and it was like time. It was help time. It was therapy time, and I pull up and I'm like thinking, God, I hope I don't run into anybody I know, right? And sure enough, I pull up, and who's walking up the sidewalk? A colleague of mine. And I thought, oh, great, like, here we are, right? And then I thought, you know what? He's here too, right? And so we said hello, and we walked each other in, and then later on that day we came up, and I was in the exercise room, and I was working out, and he came in, and it was just near the end, and we sat and we talked for 45 minutes. It was one of those moments where I realized, gee whiz, this isn't such a bad thing, that we can help each other out. And yeah, it was a good thing. It was a really good thing.
As a first responder, we have a type of culture, I guess you could say, that has kind of stuck with us through the generations of firefighters. It's very easy to suppress those feelings, because there might be a bit of a stigma towards mental health problems. So, to be able to help people kind of figure their emotions out, and get them the help they need in those tough situations is, for me, it's pretty important. And just to see your buddies kind of get through those situations a little bit easier.
Almost 90% of our members have been trained in what they call Road to Mental Readiness, which is a self-assessment tool for a continuum of health. As well, we have over 350 of our officers that have been trained in mental health first aid training. Both those programs are really great programs that do a number of things to educate our members about mental health, but also to bring down the stigma of mental health, which hopefully will allow our members, those that may be in trouble, to come out and seek the help and obviously improve their life.
Firefighters are classic Type A personalities, and they're competitive, and they do not like to show what could be perceived as a weakness. What we now know is not a weakness. It's an injury. And, it's no different than a firefighter twisting his ankle, pulling a muscle in his back. You document that injury, you make your superior aware of it, and you undergo a treatment program. And you deal with that injury, and you come back to work. That's on the physical side. The mental wellness side should be viewed no differently. It's the same, right? And that's what we're endeavoring to do here. And again, I think our staff have really, I'm so proud of them. They've embraced this. They've stepped up. I think our folks feel safe. I really do. I think they know this program is in place for the right reasons, and it's non-punitive, and this is about supporting our staff, making them better. If I could, I would like to talk about Eddie Paul. I had the distinct honor to share my career with Eddie Paul, and he and I were classmates, actually, in the class of 80. And what a wonderful human being, what a great firefighter, what a great family man. And unfortunately, Eddie passed with a presumptive cancer, one of the occupational illnesses that we talk about. And he was taken from us far too soon. He only enjoyed about a year of retirement, which is truly unfortunate. And if Eddie were able to, he would be such an advocate for our health and wellness program. You could never have worked with a better firefighter, a better person than Eddie Paul.